everyone. Welcome to the highly anticipated panel session with the title of Unemployment and Hiring Challenges in Penang. I am your moderator, the Hans. So today we are welcomed and we'd like to thank the four very, very important panelists today. The first panelist is none other than Yang Berhormat, Stephen Sim, Member of Parliament Bukit Bertajam, Datuk Michael Teo, Group CEO and Managing Director of PKT Logistics Group. Good morning, YB.
Hello.
Morning, YB.
Good morning, Datuk Michael.
Datuk Michael, how are you?
Good.
Followed by Mr. Chu Jen Weng, President and CEO of Vitrox Corporation Berhad. Good morning, Mr. Chu.
Hi, Chu.
Hi, good morning.
All right. And joined by Mr. Martin Ng, Deputy Group CEO of UWC Berhad.
Hi, morning.
Hi, good morning. So first and foremost, thank you very much, gentlemen, for being with us here on a Sunday morning. As they say, learning never stops. All right. So for us, today's session is set to be a productive and insightful one, and we expect to run beyond our scheduled time. So let me first kickstart today's session with a question for YB. YB, could you please tell us or share with us the state of unemployment in Penang?
Hi, and thanks, Beyond. Also, my very distinguished panelists. But my first question to Dr. Michael Teo is whether he's wearing a pants in this.
I'm wearing a pants.
Because we have all seen photos of him working online with his shorts. So anyway, this is a new normal that I think all of us have to get accustomed to, and which is really exciting for me because I'm here in a panel with many great minds in our entrepreneurs in our country who are very used to adapting and readapting to different normals. But if you ask me about unemployment, I think this is not only Penang, Malaysia, but this is generally a worldwide issue today, especially at the post or within the COVID-19 pandemic. In the country, we are looking at unemployment hitting up to 800,000 people. I always use, experts always use unemployment rate, 5%, 4%, below 4% considered good. Malaysia has never gone really much above 4%, but today we are 5.3%. But giving percentage point does not provide a relatable picture of unemployment to the average person on the street. So I try to give the total number of unemployed person. Now we have 800,000 people in Malaysia. But it affects everyone. It affects every state. Doesn't matter what political persuasion you are in. Doesn't matter what geographical location you are in. In Penang, we are looking at 10 to 15,000 people unemployed within the last 1 year. And one of the biggest reason is because Penang is highly dependent on tourism and the service sector, and because of the pandemic, the lockdown, we see a total halting of the whole industry. Of course, the situation is being rescued by the manufacturing industry. Some of the manufacturers are telling me that their POs are still coming in, their orders are still coming in, which is really good news. And I think in that sense, Penang is strong enough to absorb even those who are newly unemployed due to the pandemic. But of course, these unemployed persons have to readapt to perhaps new skills and new knowledges in order to be reabsorbed back to the market.
Thank you so much, YB, for that. So following on that, could you share with us some of the active measures taken by the state government to address unemployment in Penang? As you mentioned earlier, much of it has been buffered by the manufacturing sector.
I would really love to listen from our entrepreneurs. I visited the SHIP campus It is a really amazing facility, and I'm excited to see the possibility that is going to take place in the ship and also in the whole industry area in Batu Kawan. But the Penang state government in the last 10 years, what we did was to put in place ecosystem which anticipate this sort of issues. So for example, 10 years ago, we have set up, I think probably one of the first in the country, what we call a career and talent or career and training center, CAT center, whose goal is really like, what should I say? Maybe to put it in perspective, it's like a job street of the state government. Yeah, job street of the state government. So basically, not only linking unemployed persons in the state to potential jobs, but also matching them to relevant trainings, providing opportunities for employers to engage with potential employees, etc. So I think this is one of the innovation by the state within the last 10 years, which became very, very useful in times like this. So CAT Center is one initiative, but of course the state government of Penang has been in the forefront in fighting COVID-19. And I remember we were the first, the Chief Minister, Yang Amat Berhormat Chow Kuan Yeow, he was the first to announce a stimulus package, in the country, even way before the federal government. Our first stimulus package was released on the 1st of April 2020. Again, one of the first state to release, in fact, the first state government to release money into the market. So in total, we have 5 stimulus packages, which cost the state almost 200 million ringgit. It is not big in the total picture of the country, but for a state with a budget of 1 billion, this is something that I think is commendable. So the idea of injecting money into the market is really to help, especially micro and small medium enterprises to sustain themselves over a short period of time. We have looked at this pandemic for the last 1 year. Some of the most affected ones, especially at the lower level, micro and small enterprises who may not have enough holdings to break through. For example, in terms of their rental, in terms of employment of workers, etc. So the sort of financial aid coming from the state government and the federal government, of course, at least help them to buffer, at least help them, I've businessmen in my kawasan in Bukit Mertajam, coffee shop owners telling me, Stephen, without the money from the state government, without the money from the federal government, I would have to close or fire all my staff or terminate all my staff. But at least with that money, I can go through for another 3 months or 6 months, or I can negotiate with my staff for a partial payment of their salary, etc. So I think these are some of the measures that have been going on. The Penang state government has also been forefront in terms of trying to attract new investment. In 2019, our investment in terms of manufacturing money, we are more than 20% of the total manufacturing investment in the country, 2019. In 2020, 7 out of 11, this is MIDA data, 7 out of 11 high-value investment FDI are in Penang. So in that sense, we are also looking at new job creations. New job creation, not only to absorb the unemployment, but also to provide new opportunities for young people, Penangite or Malaysians who are interested to come to work in Penang.
All right, thank you so much, YB, for that detailed explanation. So let me now move on to speaking and getting the views from industry players. So, Dato' Michael?
Yeah.
Dato' Michael, could you share with us, based on YB's explanation, there's so much effort and by the state government, and also there's this many job creations, but do you face, or what are some of the hiring challenges faced by your organization?
They are from the different industry.
Yeah.
Basically, the problem here with when the pandemic hits is a certain industry has a surge in business, especially what I have observed in automotive industry. We are very strong in automotive industry. There's almost complete shutdown of automotive industry for the beginning of the MCO, the first stage of the MCO. And then when the second stage MCO started, the northern hemisphere had a shutdown, lockdown in northern hemisphere, resulting in a lot of shortage of microchips, and a lot of cars are manufactured with the ECU, electronic control units, to make the car function. So without ECU, the car cannot move as well. So there is at the moment we are hearing the component not enough for automotive industry. As a result, line shut down. Even though they are consumer buying, Malaysian government give a tax bracket for automotive industry. We don't have to, if you buy a car now, you don't have to pay a sales tax until June 2021, which is fantastic for the car industry. But then again, now we have a part shortage because of the lockdown in European Union. So when this part shortage, it will actually surge the business in Penang. That's how I look at it, like that. E&E business in Penang have a big surge, and they were looking for employees. But then again, when there is a sudden surge of business in this sector, whereas like YYB Steven just mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, he says something like 15,000 unemployment in the tourism industry. So then, you know, there is maybe a surge in E&E, but a drop in tourism industry. But then again, this doesn't match, because it is not easy for us to employ them. Even for me in the logistics, to employ them and move into the logistics side as well, because they still need to be trained, and they are not used to this kind of environment. And it's also difficult to change their mindset. Hey, you go to production floor, help us to do the picking and packing and whatnot. So so there is a challenge here. I see there is a mismatch between the industry at the moment, where people are more focused towards recession-prone business, whereas there is other business which is also recession-proof. Beside E&E, I think E&E is a very unique situation because of the I think American trade war with China. Also, there is already a move from China to Malaysia, first for the E&E sector, and then followed by the lockdown in European Union, Europe countries, followed by maybe some American countries. All the microchips actually cannot be produced. So because of that, there is a surge in E&E industry. So in this kind of situation, I think it's a challenging time for us to see how we can manage this gap between the surge. I don't know about the E&E for good, but that's how I feel it from the demand for E&E space, warehouse space from me. So I think maybe Mr. Chu can add in something, or Martin can add in something about this surge. Is it really, this phenomena is really happening?
Yes, Mr. Chu, could you share with us briefly, some of the hiring and HR challenges faced by your organization at this point?
Yep. Thank you, Bihon. You all guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Loud and clear.
I think what YP Sim and Dr. Michael said is absolutely right. There are sectors that are badly affected by the pandemics, but there are also sectors that are actually doing very well during these times. Now, yeah, there are global shortage on the semiconductor or microchips currently. It was probably due to last year. For the whole year, the automotive industry is very bad. But a lot of people are work from home. A lot of people are actually doing shopping in e-commerce. So there is actually, and also the mobile phone and the 5G actually take a lot of the portion of the semiconductors from automotive to supply to non-automotive business. But this year, when the automotive business started to come back, because of the reopening in the economy, especially in China, we see that there are not enough chips, and that is unprecedented. I would say, these are very. It will last, I think, end of this year, and that will demand a lot of expansions in the semiconductor industry. So yes, I think there are many companies, be it multinationals, that involve in E&E, or the local companies that involve in semiconductors or automations are doing extremely well. In fact, as far as Vitrox is concerned, we are actually experiencing very strong growth, not only last year, but in the past many years. In fact, especially in 2017, 2018, and 2020, that we have enjoyed a strong double-digit growth with more than 30% CAGR. I know the strong growth likely would be continue this year, 2021 and beyond. We have not actually experienced such a strong surge in demand since the beginning of the year, where our customer actually place order, some even until the second half of the year or year end. Also, the surge is mainly coming from China, Taiwan, and partially come from even the US and Mexico. So I would say this is the super semiconductor cycle, because with the reopening of the economy, the strong rollout of the 5G, the high demand of the AI in many sectors, the intelligent of things, the cloud computing, the e-commerce, I mentioned, the work from home, and even the EV. Tesla is going very aggressively in expanding their productions globally, especially in China. And also that would actually bring a lot of business to Malaysia, I would believe, because of the contract manufacturing and so on and so forth. Of course, the IR 4.0 also drive a lot of demand for the semiconductor chips. And as such, the first challenge that we have is shortage of talent. We actually need a lot of, so there is a mismatch. We need a lot of technical talent. In fact, this year we need almost 300 engineers to support and the growth. Every year since 5 years ago, we actually almost need to grow double digits in terms of the manpower to support the need of talents to build and design more innovative automated products to support the I4.0. So we desperately need to hire many more. There are many from technicians, engineer, application support engineer, test engineer, all kind of engineers, program manager, and so on and so forth. So the challenge is that we are not able to spot a sizable number of such talent in short time. So that is the first challenge, because we don't just look at the skill set, but we also look at the attitude, the right attitude, whether they're able to adapt to our culture. We call it ISCDG culture. I can elaborate more on that. But that's the first challenge. The second challenge, like what Dr. Michael just mentioned, is the skill mismatch. We found that we interview a lot of people that the skill set is not matched. There are a lot of unemployed, but they do not have the technical skill sets that we look for, especially the hand-on skill set. They might have actually learned 1 or 2 courses on programming, but when you ask him or her whether he can really do programming, did they actually carry out a project intensively? The answer normally is no. So that is a mismatch. And the third one is that many of the fresh grad also hiring challenge is that they don't have the entrepreneur spirit. Somehow in Malaysia, we still see that a lot of fresh grads like to work for multinational companies. That's the fact. And then they want to be hired and employed, but they don't have the intentions that I can do something better. But in Vitrox, we are a bit different. We want people, we are looking for people that want to start their own business with strong passion. In fact, in Vitrox, we built our company in such a way that we encourage entrepreneurship so that they can lead the new business units, do some innovation, come with new products. The fourth challenge that we face is, especially in Penang, is like YBCM had mentioned, that we get a lot of foreign investment. A lot of, especially in Batu Kawan, you will see quite numbers of new MNCs coming in. That will actually create a stiff competition for a very scarce talent, especially engineers. And also, this big MNC have big budgets. I'm sure Martin will agree with me. They have big budgets and big brand names. They would actually take away all our best talent in the country. So that is bad for long term. That's very bad for long term. We need to do something on that. So I stop it here first. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Chu. Mr. Martin, could you share with us how is the scenario in UWC, specifically the hiring and HR challenges?
All right, thank you, Beyonce. I think Mr. Chu did mention most of the challenging. I think most of the challenges, not just Vitrox himself, but the entire tech companies in Penang region. That's the challenge that what we face. For example, Steven Sim did mention that in Penang we hit one of the highest unemployment, which is equivalent to about 15,000 of unemployment, and nationally we hit somewhere around 5.3, which is probably one of the highest in the history of Malaysia. And yet, when we look into the new foreign direct investment announced by Binda a few days ago, Penang recorded around about 14.1 billion of foreign direct investment, which potentially create 13,000 job opportunities. And yet, we are seeing a lot of unemployment, especially in Penang. Definitely, when we look into the ecosystem at macro level, there's definitely a gap. Definitely, when tech companies, medical devices companies, semiconductor companies coming into Malaysia, and including Malaysia local homegrown companies is expanding, and we are competing against the similar talent pool, which means when we look into the education system in this country, when I extract the latest information from the nearest education department, we are seeing STEM education is at a declining stage. Look into semiconductor industries. Over the past 1 year, right now, recently, we have heard of chip shortages, semiconductor shortages. And one of the biggest reasons is because of the working from home practices. As we know, COVID-19, a new norm, we have to adopt to the new norm. And as such, we need more laptops, smart devices, and we need more networking devices. We need servers. That's a result of chip shortages. And on top of that, one of the biggest reasons that automotive industries is experiencing a chip shortage is where during the initial COVID-19 outbreak, it happened globally. There's major economic shutdowns globally. So therefore, many of the automakers, they have decided to cut down their orders for chips. And when they cut down for chips, on the other hand, consumer electronics such as tablets, smart devices are experiencing a surge. When during the mid of 2020, when China being one of the largest, probably the largest automotive markets, have reopened their economy, undergoing a recovering phase, then there's where the car demand started to recover. When these automakers started to place order for chips, they're actually right very behind of the current orders, because at this juncture there's a lot of backlog. And Penang being strong in semiconductor industry, and we used to be the semiconductor Silicon Valley of the East. Definitely, we are very strong. Many of the local companies, especially operating in the semiconductor industries, are operating very well. For instance, like UWC, for our case, over the past 7 quarters since we get ourselves listed, consecutively for 7 years, we are experiencing a year-on-year growth. And based on the recent announcement, we achieved a year-on-year growth of 104.5% of growth. And with the current forecast and demand, we are expecting to hire additional 200 of headcounts, which include engineers and technical level. At this juncture, we do not think that in Malaysia, we're no longer a low-cost region. All we need is technical people, like what Mr. Chua did mention. We need engineers, we need technical people. And yet, when we look into tertiary education institution, like the nearest universities, we can see that the engineering recruits students, talent, enrolling to the engineering program is not somehow grow as much as what the industry grew. And in fact, when we look at certain colleges or the TVET Institute, we are seeing that there's a decline in terms of number of enrollment, in terms of students interested in doing a TVET education or engineering education. I think that's about all my sharing.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Martin. So, YB, based on what the industry players have shared, there is this gap and mismatch between skill talent, and also the skill required for these jobs. So what do you think that is needed to be done on the state government level, organizational level, and even the individual level to ensure that these jobs and talent, there's a match? YB, your microphone, YB. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, it is very interesting that all three of our fellow speakers talk about the shortage in supply chain, especially chips, etc. Because I'm one of the victim of this situation, because I have 200 laptops now pending. I think for more than a month without being able to get a proper lead time, even after 1 month of placing order. 200 laptops. So this is a real situation, like I said, affecting people across the board. But I think the issue of skill mismatch is also not new. This is something that has been complained, or rather highlighted, by the industry, by students themselves, by people, in fact by politicians over the last 10 years. We have seen reports from Pemandu, Talent Corps. We have seen report from World Bank on this issue. One of the things that I always say about education is that we must train our young people for a world that exists. We cannot train our young people for a world that does not exist. I think Dato' Michael will agree with me, because he built his school to be like a ship, so that you simulate a real world environment when you train and educate our young generation. So I think this is one principle that we have to take note, whether federal or state government. And the one of the thing that the Penang state government is doing, again over the last 10 years, I think this is in a way visionary on the part of the state leadership, is to give a lot of emphasis on STEM education, to invest in STEM education. Although education is a federal jurisdiction, but I think state government plays a role in terms of uniting industry players, stakeholders, together with educational institutions, to come together to see how we can create new syllabus, create new courses, not only for mature students, not only for unemployed persons, but also to nurture the love for STEM education from a young age. So I think this is one of the initiatives that have been going on for the last 10 years. But of course, at the end of the day, we have to look into our tertiary institutions. One of my ambition, I remember maybe about 10 years or more than 10 years ago, I gave a speech. I delivered a speech in a political convention, and I said that one of my vision is to have University Pulau Pinang. In the model of maybe University of London, instead of just one main universities, it is a conglomerate of different institutions, perhaps something like PSDC, or even the SHIP campus and other STEM-based institutions, because STEM is our core competency in Penang. We have got Vitrox, we have got UDC, we have got what do you call it? We have got PKT Logistic here. So I think this is where we can leverage on the experiences of our entrepreneur. We can leverage on the experiences of our industry and create a totally new way of educating the future workforce. And some of this method would include, and we have tried this. I've tried this when I was in the Ministry of Youth and Sports. We were in the process. Sorry, I was referring to UWC just now, not UEC. When I was in the Youth and Sport Ministry, we have below us 22 vocational institutions under the ministry. So one of the things that we were trying to introduce, I was talking to Amazon, I was talking to IBM. We were in the process of reaching out to Microsoft and Google to introduce what we call micro certifications on coding, robotics, etc. Industry approved, industry design, short courses that will sufficiently launch them into some sort of career, even in a new direction. So like what our fellow panelists have said, you have got 10 to 15,000 unemployed workers from the service sector. You can't transform them into you can't all bring them into Vitrox. I'm sure Chu would more than willing to bring these people into Vitrox, you know. But the problem is they do not have the relevant skill, and you can't put them in a university for 3 to 4 years to study engineering. But the thing is, STEM education today is much more modular. You don't have. I went to university to study computer science. It took me 4 years, but today you can do coding in perhaps, I don't know, in a 2 months, 3 months, sometimes even as short as 1 month. You can learn coding. Of course, to improve on the skill, perhaps experience and practice will be needed. But this new rethinking of education or STEM education through modular and micro certifications would at least help to help unemployed people or unemployed young persons in Penang or in Malaysia to relaunch their career in a new direction if they are willing to do so. So I think these are some of the things that we can do. But as an organization, I also always say that every time we organize a career fair, when I was a youth, when I was in the youth ministry, I went around to youth organization and say, whenever we organize career fair, the career fair often is to advise or to teach youngsters, young job seekers, to modify their behavior to suit the industry, right? To modify their talent to suit the industry. But I think in this 21st century, we should also be looking at advising companies to rethink their work culture to attract young talents. You see, somebody like Dr. Michael, Martin, or even Chu, if they are looking for a job today, I am sure they will not want to change their behavior. These are talents that will not change for another person. So, and you know, I've seen how Vitrox operate. They are setting up a new working environment, new way of coming to office. Even Datuk Michael, new way of coming to office, so that you attract good talents. Because not only job seekers must adapt to the demand of the industry, but I think in this 21st century, the industry must also adapt to the demand of talents. Otherwise, like what Chu has said, you've got big companies, you've got foreign dollar coming in, and they are more than willing to pay more to attract these talents. So you today you see how Google, Facebook change the whole outlook of their operation, so that they may attract certain group of people, certain kind of talents to work with them. So I think this is one: government, organization, and of course, finally, individuals. Young people today have to look beyond only technical skills. I think what people like Vitrox or UWC is looking for is, I always say I'm a technical person, I'm an engineer. I always say you can learn technical skill, you know, after 2 months or 3 months on the job, but you can't learn skills like critical thinking, problem solving. So you have to nurture that sort of values in our job seekers, because I think this is very important to the employers. They want employees, they want young person who are able to be resourceful. You may not know how to do this particular thing, but you will be resourceful enough to find a solution, to talk to people, and to think critically of how to deal with your problem. I think an employer do not want to employ somebody who knows everything, but rather because no such person exists, but rather somebody who is resourceful enough, who is humble enough to learn and relearn. So I think this is an outlook that our young people should have. You know, skills are important, technical skills are important, but the outlook of being resourceful, the outlook of willing to learn and relearn, I think that all those are important as well.
All right, thank you, YB. Mr. Chu. Hello? Mr. Chu,
Can you repeat your slide? Because I can't hear you just now. Sorry.
No worries. Mr. Chu, just to elaborate earlier on what YB said, Vitrox as a system where there's a new way for staff coming into office. And earlier you mentioned you are looking at hiring 300 engineers. So what is Vitrox doing from a corporate organization level to not only upskill existing staff, but also to train soon to be hired staff?
Okay, yeah, let me elaborate. I 100% agree with what YPCM mentions. The world has been changing very rapidly, and the educations need to change as well to support that. In fact, we are changing very fast. In fact, I'm sure you heard about Forward School. There's another new learning center that we are actually invested in, and also committed in to provide financial assistance to manage student SPM level, and now have micro certifications. They just need to attend 2 years of programming trainings, and then within these 2 years, they actually spend 9 months in my office to really work alongside with our R&D engineer to hands-on the skill set. And when they finish this, they are hired with a pay of an engineer with a 4 years degree. It's the same, 3,000 above SPM level. World is changing. It is not the degree that count, but the skill set and the mindset and the heart set that really count. I totally agree with YP Sims that everyone hire Googles already. I mean, everyone have the access to the Google. Google is very resourceful, so you can find every information that you need. But talents do they have the right mindset? I would say mindset and also the heart set. That is more important. The attitude set, whether they are value driven, mission driven, or they just come here to play, or they want to make an impact. So that is very critical to us. We hire people that are humble, that come with a growth mindset, that are willing to. I believe that they can learn, unlearn, and relearn everything. They know their lack of something, but they are confident and have the courage to try. So that are the things that we're looking at for people. We don't always hire first class people with strong academic results, but we hire people that have a fire in the gut. They want to do something. Many of them are coming from not so wealthy families. They need to struggle in life, but they work extremely hard. These are the good talents that we want, even though we know that their result is not very good, but they are very hands-on. These are the people that we believe that are very aligned with our ISCDG culture. ISCDG stands for, we look for people that actually have strong integrity, accountable, have the strong courage to dare to try new things, dare to fail, dare to say no, but at the same time humble, respect others, and most importantly is come with a gratitude heart and a heart to help others and serve others. So if they have that kind of attitude, we believe that in Vitrox context, we are able to train them with the skill set. Skill set is easy. And we also working closely with some private university to have this book-based learning. Book-based learning program is a 3-year degree courses where students will need only to spend 2 years in the university and 1 full year in the industry, where our engineers, our senior engineer will conduct the lecture. So in the morning they attend to the lecture, in the afternoon they solve real problems. So that we are creating a new bunch of graduates that are so skillful, but then at the same time come with the right mindset and the heart set. So we are doing a lot of things, and we are aligned and true. In fact, I found that because we cannot get enough right talent from the existing tertiary study, we are building one, just like DKT. Like the long, I'm buying the vision with YP Steven's team that University of Pulau Pinang. Now we are starting one that actually putting engineering study inside the industry. The students will study in the morning. Afternoon, they are already at the works to solve real world problems and make an impact. So I think doing that, I think we can actually change, do what we can as organizations to make a change, then and influence the governments, the state, or even the federals that the tertiary study need to be changed to really cater for the need of the world. So that is my point. Yeah. So we are working very hard, and I'm love to see that there are more and more new training center, education center come out, to make the change.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chu. What about you, Mr. Martin? What is UWC doing in terms of from an employer to train soon-to-be high talents or foster these positive skills to ensure that you get the talent that's suitable for those roles that you're trying to fill?
Okay, let me start by giving you some idea of what I'm promoting and what I believe.
Okay.
As you can see, over here, we are very strong promoters of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, which is aligned with the Penang Vision 2030. So one of the goals that we promote is goal number 4, quality education, and we have been spending quite a bit on an annual basis in investing. We don't call it we call it investing in education, quality education, because we believe everyone deserves a quality education. So few of the initiatives we initiated since many years ago. For instance, I think 4 or 5 years ago, we started our own scholarship fund, which we sponsor students that is interested to do engineering programs. And of course, we also work with the TVET institution, including the PSDC, with one of the programs that mentioned earlier. We always have the misperception that blue-collar engineer is not a good engineer. Blue-collar does not make a good living. But in fact, technical people is what we are looking for. For instance, one of the programs we work with PSDC is the Meister program, where Monday to Friday, they are working in my company, and Saturday, Sunday, they are studying back in the institute. So this is probably a 3 years program, and upon graduation, they are paid even better than a white-collar engineer. And these people we call it blue-collar engineer and hands-on engineer. And I believe this is the talent that many of us is looking into it. So that's why we call it TVET education. When we look into advanced country like Germany itself, I think more than 70% of their graduates are undergoing TVET education or blue collars or skill sets training. And this is what we are lacking over here. And in order to close the gap between the TVET institution and the industry demand, UWC set up our own education center at Polytechnic Seberang Pride, which we send our expert conducting lessons in the institute itself. We brought our own machines there. We sent our raw material. We even renovated the entire place, including our own machines. We train the students based on the latest industry needs, and of course, with the vision to close the gap between the industries and also the institute. And I think 1 year ago, we worked with the Penang State Government, the Penang Youth Development Corporation, PYDC, for employment and scholarship as well, catered particularly for B40 families, because we believe there's a lot of students out there. They are willing to undergo tertiary education, but they are limited in terms of abilities, in terms of financial, and this is where we come in. And in terms of what we do internally is, of course, like everyone said, we look into attitude. I believe we hire for attitude, train for skills. So that's why we invest a lot in trainings, extended trainings, especially we are seeing that the gaps is quite huge. So put in summary, when I look into quality people that we are hiring, I put in three main value: UWC, which is aligned to the company name, and also our belief. Unity, the employee have to stay united, is a team player. Willpower, they have to be strong in terms of willpower to handle all the stress level, because as we know, we are under a very dynamic world. Things have changed rapidly, and in today's era, big fish eat small fish no longer relevant. We are looking at fast fish eat small fish. And lastly is committed to integrity, committed to the organization, and committed to innovation. And this is what we are looking for. And I would like to quote a quote from Steve Jobs. It doesn't make sense to hire smart people to tell you what to, and then you tell them what to do. It's better that we hire smart people and then they tell us what to do. And this is the attitude, and this is the critical thinking that YB, Steven Sim have been mentioning, critical thinking, problem solving. And this is also the quality that we are looking into it. And of course, to do that, we have to train, put a lot of training, soft skills training, technical skills training, in terms of conduct Q&A, the technical need and the training need analysis, and of course to apply the training across the entire organization.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Martin. Dato, I believe we are all right. Some of us right now are actually broadcasting live from the SHIP campus, and I believe the SHIP campus is a testament to PKT's commitment towards education excellence. So could you please share with us a little bit more on how the SHIP campus and also Peninsula College is actually helping to push the upskilling and also increasing the talent pool?
Yeah. Thanks, Bios. Basically, after I listened to 2015 education blueprint back in 2014, while I was doing this master plan and acquired the land in PDC. So when I came back, I restructured the construction site and I decided to put a campus inside an industrial park. So this is what the Ministry of Education are aware of, because most of our institutions are located far away from the industry, especially some of them closer to the jungle than the industry. So because of that, they are no longer relevant to the industry. So they are producing graduate that is no longer relevant. So now the ministry is telling them, yeah, well, you have to collaborate with the industry, you have to go back. Industry and the institution must be one. So they must collaborate together. So the only way we can make it really happening is we look into the model of German and how they actually have an institution working very close with the industry. So we decided to put the SHIP campus inside the industrial park. We have a lot of challenges doing that with the DOE because we have student accommodation next to the SHIP campus and whatnot. So, but the idea is almost the same as what Mr. Chu already mentioned. This is we call it a work-based learning type of institution. It's very TVET-based. So we are here to open to collaboration with all the industries surrounding in Batu Kawan Industrial Park to tell us what subject they want the student what type of subject the student need to graduate from. Which we have a big list of menu from University of Plymouth, which is our partner universities from UK, for you to choose what subject you think we should teach in the SHIP campus. And also, I like to tell Martin, you don't have to send your equipment also to Polytechnic Seberang Perai only. You can also send your equipment to the SHIP campus, and we will help you to train your future graduate as well. More than happy lah. Okay. So, but by the way, so the whole thing here is about the new method of teaching. So the SHIP campus is going to change the innovate completely new sorts of module, rather than focusing on lesson itself, which they can also learn online and Google will teach them everything. But we are here talking about how they coordinate with each other. So you can see there is a lot of group study environment in the SHIP campus. We also have an entrepreneur growth hub on the downstairs, which almost similar to what Mr. Chu mentioned about grooming future entrepreneurs as well. So entrepreneur growth hub is a co-working space where we allow the startups company to host their office here and use our student as their employee and maybe in the future they also can employ them and also give them some shares or whatnot. And on top of that, we are here also collaborating with the whole industry. That is why we started with a big boom with the Batu Kawan Career Fair. So with this Batu Kawan Career Fair, the SHIP campus has actually managed to communicate with all the industries surrounding us and actually gather big data, the information about what type of graduates, what type of employees you are looking for, okay? Because under the Peninsula Higher Education Group, they also have a division called Pen Skill or Peninsula Skills, headed by also Mr. Tung. Previously, he is from Japatan Polytechnic, Malaysia. He's one of the director for industry collaboration. Then he knows that we are not here to produce only the white collar, but we also need to consider the blue collar people as well. especially those people who are actually who didn't get a good marks in their SPM. They end up they have nothing to do. But then there is a gap in our industry which we try to avoid as many foreign labor as possible, depending on them. So we actually retrain them and recertified them under the Peninsula Skills Certificate. So most of the industry in Batu Kawan can actually engage Pen Skill to be, and then give them the module, and then we will help you to train, and we will give you two type of signature, one from the institution and one from the industry. So this is the future. We call it a certification that we are also planning. Is called some similar to TVET cert lah. So we are. I'm also part of the TVET committee, and we've been hearing that lah. They are coming out with TVET type of certification and whatnot to students who couldn't make it for treasury education, and they focus on work-based learning. So like what you say here is 2 days, maybe 2 weeks in the class, 2 weeks back in the operation. And because we have accommodation here, they are able to go to class and go to work at the same time. So they are getting paid based on the JBSB program. JBSB means Jom Bekerja Sambil Belajar. It's a program where we pay the student 30 ringgit per shift, which is about 750 per hour. So they only work either morning shift or afternoon shift, depends on their classes. So once you start engaging them as your JBSB, there will be students appearing in your production floor who are studying computing subject or whatever engineering subject or supply chain subject that with us. But daytime in between their classes, they will be working in your factory. So by the time they graduate, they actually already know how to handle your people, and you can employ them straight away. And they comes with a degree from a renowned university in the UK as well. So we are trying to do something really unusual. We are trying to match whatever the industry are requiring. That is why we are here. So Professor Ian, and which is previously one of the head of one of the foreign universities in Malaysia before as well. So he is also well versed in this industry collaboration. Together, partnering with Mr. Tong from JPPKK, previously the Director for Industrial Relation. Then they will all be looking at the industry and then asking them what are the future graduate you are looking at, and we will try to produce for the industry. So, and also for those who mismatch, we are looking at Peninsula skills job, to provide the skill to them, new skill to them, with a shorter period of training, and or while they are training 3 months or 6 months, they are also working at the same time, so they are not very bored in the classroom environment, because those people, they don't like to study, they like to work. So this is what we have planned for in the SHIP campus. A very interesting time. I hope every one of you have a chance to come and have a look at it, and also help us to tell us what should we be producing, what type of graduate. We will give you the full menu from University of Plymouth. You choose what subject you think will be employable in the future. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Michael. YB, just one question to follow up on what our speakers have mentioned today. What are some of the immediate plans or programs for 2021 on youth and talent development in Penang?
I think, like I say, the ecosystem in Penang is something that has been set in the past 10 years.
Yes.
So we are talking about continuation of STEM, continuation of TVET education, promotion. The CAT Center is functioning, and of course, new initiatives like the stimulus packages for COVID pandemic, etc. But I'm very touched that Dato' Michael mentioned the Malaysian Education Blueprint 2015. And I think this is a lesson for not only the federal government, but also the state government, whoever is in government, is that blueprints and also system that has been put in place before the pandemic must be reviewed, because we cannot expect that the gap caused by the pandemic will not affect our original plan. I think factories, companies, businesses have all reviewed their business process, have all reviewed their strategy, etc., to deal with post-pandemic situations. So the state government or the federal government, despite having mechanism and ecosystem and blueprints in place, I think one of the key things that these stakeholders have to do is really to perhaps add, and my standing joke is to add an addendum to the blueprint, a COVID-19 addendum. What should we do to fill in the gap caused by COVID in order for us to continue pursuing our objective through this blueprint? So I think these are some of the things that stakeholders in government have to think about. But otherwise, I think Penang itself has a very strong ecosystem. I mean, I'm so glad that three key entrepreneurs in Penang not only are doing well in their respective businesses, but they are also expanding into education. I am not sure whether willingly or because they have no choice. there is no quality workforce that is available to them. But I'm very happy because this is the sort of vision that we want. We want companies, whether local or foreign investors, not only to come here and develop the businesses, the economy of Penang, but also to have some sort of skill transfer, to have some sort of skill and knowledge development. We want to create Penang as the destination of choice for investors, not only for our beautiful environment, for our food, but also because there is easy availability of high-skilled workforce. And this is due to the proximity, this is due to the interaction with existing industry in this state.
Okay, thank you, YB. Gentlemen, I'll now open the floor for questions. So we'll be taking some Q&As from the social media comments. There's a question stating that young graduates don't want to work in production manufacturing roles. Can't find talent despite paying good salary. Views from HR. Anyone would like to comment on this statement? Mr. Chu, perhaps?
Yep. Okay. It's true to a certain extent, and also it is. But I think it's very important to let the graduate to see the meaning behind. If they're actually building a very sophisticated, advanced machines, that they feel proud about, then it's a different things. Now, if they are building the state-of-the-art electric vehicle that designed and built by their own colleagues in Malaysia, that's different. They will feel proud. They will feel be part of that big pictures, but not cheap label on doing some things that they cannot relate to. For example, we also build productions not for making machine, but making veggies, producing veggies, machines that are able to produce veggies, precision farming. And also our engineers, they're designer, but they're happily get their hand dirty to build the machine from scratch. Because they know that they're going to help to resolve some of the food security problem in the countries. They will help the farmers to significantly reduce pesticide use. And they're going to help farmers to remove foreign worker. So when you can create a meaning and purpose to the people, I think that makes a lot of difference. They don't just look for money, but they know that what they do will make an impact to the communities, to their families, and to the world at large. And to talk about the STEM a little bit add on is that, and this have to start from small. That's why we are working with Penang Science Cluster to start a makerspace in our campus, where we invested about $1 million to invite primary and secondary students to come and experience science and technologies. They can visit our precision farm and really look how robots actually help to look at the leaf or veggie, look for insects, that kind of things. And since young, if they will be excited, they will want to, hey, yeah, I can make something from nothing. So this is what we are trying to do. We are not just solving the immediate talent shortage problem, but we hope we can help to inspire the young generations to go into science and technology. Because if all our peoples are only willing to go do e-commerce, become e-traders, buy parts goods from China and put it in the Shopee or Lazada and sell, our country have no future. So we need engineers that are really to produce or solve the problems. So that's why I think as local companies, we carry more obligation and responsibilities to not only just make money, but I think to take care of our future generation, because we are here to stay. We won't go to Vietnam or India because they have a cheaper labor, because it's our country. So so we hope through a lot of this kind of sharing, we can also make some change to our graduate mindset, a future generation mindset, where they will choose to work for local companies that can make impact. So yeah, we are doing a lot of all these things, because I think skill set is easy, mindset change is difficult. We have been always looking at FDI since independence 50 years ago, but now we are still depending on FDI to grow the country. I think we need to change that mindset as well. That's my own humble opinions. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments, gentlemen?
Can I just add first before anyone? I think that question falls very well together with our Smart Tracker program. So, dear panelists, actually we launched this. Truck drivers they make good money, but most of the truck drivers are uneducated. So we thought, hey, since the young one they love to have a high pay. But the thing is, and they love to move around, traveling and whatnot. So what we did here is we launched a smart tracker program, and we didn't tell them this is for life. This is only 4 years. We tell them for 4 years only. Right after graduate, you become a smart tracker. So during the time when they have their internship period with us, which is normally 6 months, we train them on all the things related to logistics and defensive driving, and how to drive and whatnot. So, and then we brand them as a smart tracker, all right? And we tell them you will be getting the salary, in actual fact, same salary as a current driver, but this salary is higher than any graduate job that you can get. So what if you want to, why is it okay for people to do Grab and not okay to drive the trucks? So we brand them as smart tracker. And then the 6-month internship period, we actually provide them with a license. And then right after that, they will be driving their own truck. So we started with smaller truck, but we don't want to give them the customer that is like lousy, no branding and whatnot. So we give them branded customers, something like Family Mart. So if you go to Family Mart, then if you see a truck drop by, and then you look at the behind the truck, which is a PKT truck, you see a smart tracker. Means this guy is either a polytechnic graduate or a university graduate driving a truck. So the challenge here is how to change their mindset. So what we did here is we create a lounge for them. We call it the Smart Tracker Lounge, because they don't want to sit with the normal truck drivers also. So then they sit in their own lounge, and they have computer laptops, and they have a pool table, and they have their massage chair and whatnot. So we changed the environment. During the tour, when the student come for tour, we show them this is Smart Tracker, and then this is how we treat you, with respect, with dignity and whatnot. And you are not a lorry driver, you are a smart tracker. And it's only for 4 years for you to know about the hands-on operation. After the 4th year, you can opt to become a senior logistics executive. So with that in mind, they don't mind to give it a try. So because of that, we have attracted a lot of students, not only in the logistics industry, the logistics degree, but they are also from business degree, engineering degree, even lady students also want to try out in the Smart Tracker program. So, but then in Europe, trucking industry is almost like their family business, passed from grandfather to father, father to son, and most of the truck are very big, and then the whole family probably inside the truck and following through the Europe and whatnot. So this could be the near future transformation we hope to create Smart Tracker program. So it is. I look at it is branding. We need to be able to give them that change in the mindset about the job by looking at it in another way. Like what you say, oh, you are here to go into one of the production lines that is going to produce Tesla. Wow, that is totally different. I'm involved in Tesla. They will go back and shout to their friend, I did that part, for that car, something like that. So that is kind of a start. We need to strategize to give them a bit of a branding, a change of mindset, and also some encouragement. So that can be happen. So maybe to that question, we did try. We started now with the Smart Tracker program. Let's see how it goes. Maybe if one day, if all our truck drivers are graduate, maybe you have to thank me for doing that program.
All right, thank you, Dato. Moving on to the next question, we actually have a question directed to Mr. Chu and Mr. Martin. This question says, we keep hearing and seeing IR 4.0. What is your take on these advanced technologies? Are they going to help to resolve the challenge, such as shortage of talent? If this challenge cannot be solved within short term, is the company looking for such talent or knowledge transfer from overseas? Maybe
I can start first. Yeah, I think when we talk about IR 4.0, especially in the media side, it tends to be a new sexy word or a new jargon. But after all, as a profit-oriented organization, as long as the practices does not drive my bottom line, companies won't do that. I mean, after all, it depends on the bottom line. Let's drill into IR 4.0. Of course, the concept of IR 4.0 started back then, very long time ago in Germany. And what happened is, it's just a matter of time to adopt to the technologies, because we know that understanding that we have to increase the traceabilities, we have to increase the productivities. Like for instance, few of the key pillars of IR 4.0, which is like big data analytics, we do see that we hire more statisticians than before. In the past, I think 10 years ago, we do not even have one statistician focused in doing all the big data analysis. And right now, we are hiring more and more these data statistic people in our organization. And of course, a few of the pillars, which is, I think, it's just a matter of time of how people adopt it. And we have to adopt it, like system integration, like augmented reality. And what we do in UWC is we have system integration, a more common one, where we integrate our system across the entire organization equipment to increase, enhance the traceabilities, autonomous robots. And of course, this kind of adoption of technologies is not what they call it's not about to address the issues of shortage of talent, but to upgrade the skill sets of the talent. For example, in implementation of Industries 4.0, we need more talented people. We need more skilled, trained people. It's not just like you want to get something in and you can get things executed and implemented immediately in the organization. And therefore, it's not just about that. We have to work with tertiary institute, consultants in upgrading of employees. It's about mentality change. It's about upgrading. So, for example, I would like to take this example. I always like to take this example is for welding. UWC involved quite a bit in welding, and in order to implement the robotics welding, which data driven, it's not by any people. Anyone from the tertiary education can do it. We need to have welders. Yep. Because welders understand the parameters, welders understands the process of welding, and is that the question that how are we going to make these welder to educate the robots? Therefore, we are spending quite a bit in training these welder in operating robots. So that it's not about shortage of talent, but upgrading the talent. And most importantly, when we look into syllabus of tertiary education, I believe many of the tertiary education does not associate the industry 4.0 factor into the syllabus. And in fact, when we look into many of the medias announced by the government incentive, we are keep talking into industry 4.0. But the bottom line is the fundamental of 4.0 is not being even plunged into the syllabus of the education. That's the biggest challenge. Definitely, if let's say, there's a need, as I mentioned, it's just a matter of time on how we adopt it. Definitely, of course, if let's say possible, right now, of course, it's not possible to look for foreign talent because we are under a lockdown. Definitely, if there's opportunities, we will also get a talent from overseas. And of course, again, this is not a long-term sustainable. Don't forget, we promote United Nations Sustainable Development Goal. Everything has to be sustainable. So this foreign talent is coming here to bring the local people that we hired over here to upgrade them as well, create the atmosphere of upgrading them, the mentality. So this is a whole that I think most importantly is the trainings that we have, because as you can see, the recent graduates, we do observe that many of them know Industry 4.0 as a jargon. When we deep dive into the very technical of Industry 4.0, yeah, that's come the gap.
All right, Mr. Chu, would you like to add on to
Yeah,
the
I just
question?
add on a little bit on I4.0 because we are, as far as VTalk is concerned, we are not only the user, but we also the creator of I4.0 products. And also, I think the world will going towards I4.0. You like it or not, and also it will go towards that direction. And those companies, especially the local companies that are willing to invest and adopt to it as early as possible, they will reap the benefits. They'll reap the benefit because I4.0 is to help you to make you more productive, especially during this COVID-19. If you have all these 4.0 ready, you don't have to work from the factories. But in Vitrox, a lot of people actually work from home. They can actually know the production's output, yield, problem, inventories, everything, just looking at their laptops or even handphones. And our machine actually come with this. We can actually see all the machines that install at a customer base globally and help them to maintain that. That is the powerful of I4.0. Without this, you need a lot of people go back to the factories and work. But in the pandemic time, we have these problems. And I4.0 really make a lot of difference for companies that have started to adopt that. And also, but another myth is that Malaysians should be more confident in this area. I4.0 create a lot of opportunity for startups and entrepreneurs. We don't have to buy everything from overseas. We can create our own I4.0 because a lot of things are software based. Like Vitrox, we created this called V1 software platform that can connect to virtually any buildings, any machines. And I'm great that UWC also work with it on this to help them to monitor some of their process. And we offer this as probably 1/10 of the cost of what the big company offer. So implementing I4.0 is not expensive if you know what is I4.0. But a lot of companies are scared by, all these are coming by a big giant and they are going to be very expensive. Yes, they are very expensive, but there are also local solutions. Not only Vitrox, but there are quite a numbers of smaller companies that are offering this help, be it in the agriculture or factories. So look out for that. You need to change, especially for local companies. You need to make that move. Not that you will leave behind. You will still require a lot of foreign worker, and that is not sustainable. They're not sustainable. So
All right, thank you, Mr. Chu. Let's move on to the next question. This is actually a very interesting question. I am seeking a career change from one industry to another. What should I do? Maybe YB, any comments on that?
Sorry, I'm seeking a career change from one industry to another.
Yeah, what should I do?
I think you should be brave, to go into it, go for it. But of course, when we talk about redirecting our career path, I think we have to also consider, we have been talking for the past hour about the right skill set, the right mindset, and I like what Chu said, the right heart set. I think it is not impossible for a person to change uh, their career path. In fact, I was never trained as a politician. I was trained as an engineer. But we used to say that in the past, politics is a field for lawyers and economists and political scientists. But I always say that we need more engineers in politics because Chu and maybe Martin will agree with me because we engineers produce real products and real results, measurable products. So I think you need to have the courage, to pursue your dream and ambition. But you also need to have the discipline to seek new knowledge, new skills. And today there are many different many different courses out there, some even for free. Let me just give you an example. Last year I was called and appointed by the chief minister for 3 to 4 months to deal with the COVID pandemic in Penang. So I became the head of communication and community empowerment for Penang Lawan COVID. I know nothing about epidemiology. I know nothing about medicine. I know nothing about medical science. But what I did was when I took over this position, and I went to an online portal to take up a course on epidemiology, so that I, eventually after completing the course in I think maybe about 3 weeks or 4 weeks, I actually know certain terms that doctor use. I know what sort of statistics and calculation that we should be looking for, and this is how it helped me to develop the strategy and plan for Penang. So I think there are resources out there. Some even for free. I took the course for no, I think I paid a small sum of money for that course. It's very very minimum. So I think we have to have the discipline, seek out and to learn and relearn. I think that is the attitude that I adopt in life. We have to learn and relearn. This is something very new to me, but up to today, I'm able to understand when, say, for example, Dr. Nohisham, Tan Sri Nohisham, the health DG, when he talks about certain statistics, when he talks about R naught, oh, I know what is it. Not because I am trained in that field, but because I took a course, a 1 month course in that subject. In fact, as we were talking, somebody just sent me an email asking me whether I'm interested to join a 16-week course, high-level 16-week course on smart city, curated by Tsinghua University in China. So it is very interesting. We are living in a time where there are learning opportunities out there. The question is whether we are willing or not to learn.
Okay, thank you, YB. Dr. Michael, any feedback on this particular comment from our viewers?
I think like what the YB said, you need to prove that you are really interested to change the industry. How to prove that? You take out short courses and bring your CV along with your certificate in your short course and show to people, because you cannot simply change from the very drastically from tourism industry to go to engineering. So, but if you say tourism industry to go into Vitrox to become their tour guide for visitor to tour Vitrox, yes, okay, that understand that is a changing industry, but almost similar job. So it cannot be so drastic change. So if you are like in the logistics, you can go to Vitrox as a supply chain manager and UWC as a supply chain manager. So that is different industry as well, but then same type of job. So you cannot go too far from that as well. So my advice is don't go too far from what you are passionate all about. If you are really passionate about engineering and you are in the tourism industry, I will see you doing online courses to get your degree or master degree in engineering or whatever. And with that online courses, you use this certificate to prove that you are actually looking to change industry. Other than that, don't simply say that you want to go into an industry that is not relevant to what you are doing at all today. That's my advice.
All right, thank you, Dato. All right, gentlemen, there's one final question. So I believe for some of our viewers out there who are job seekers, although some of them may have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, currently unemployed, could you just share with them a little bit, some words of wisdom and encouragement for them to push through? Maybe I'll start with you, YB.
I always say that there is always hope. No matter how tough the situation is. I saw comments about some, some not having a job since 2020. I think there is always hope. I've got people who run businesses, friends who run businesses, telling me that they are on the verge of closing, but they press on new innovations. Some even, some small businesses, bosses of small businesses, even resorted to becoming Grab drivers just to sustain. So I think as long as we continue to persevere, as long as we continue to be patient and struggle on, don't get me wrong, it is hard work. It is hard work, but we have to continue to struggle on. But there is always hope. There are people around. I think I want to thank Dr. Michael for organizing this brilliant virtual career fair. This is also an innovation. I had never thought that a career fair can be done online just like this. This is his contribution to the society. People are willing to help you if you are a job seeker. There are bosses who are willing to help you. The government is willing to help you. There are many different programs out there. It is not easy. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, but do not give up hope. Seek help. Explore different talents. Like I say, it is not easy to change your industry, your skill set, but it is not impossible. Don't give up.
Thank you, YB. Dr. Michael, any words of encouragement?
I say I mean there are plenty of jobs. As you say, today's Batu Kawan Virtual Fair proved to you that there is a mismatch in the industry, where there are other industry which has a surge in the business, and you shouldn't be looking at it as a permanent solution. You can also take it as your temporary solution to become a beside Grab food, Panda food, delivery boy. Some people are doing it to survive, to make sure that they have something to do while they go through this pandemic. If not, why don't you look for changing, reskilling yourself, take up an MBA course while you don't have a job. Because when you go for interview, and then if somebody asks you, what are you doing since 2010 until now, while you can say, oh, I take a break from COVID-19, my company was badly hit, so I did an MBA program. I am now reskilling myself to prepare for my next job. So there is plenty of things to do. So I think the best is reskill yourself, learn from the past mistake, a corrective measure, go to the industry that is recession-proof or COVID-proof, like logistics and maybe rubber glove, or maybe some E&E company here, and then train yourself to get some certificate or your own degree or master degree and whatnot. And then for the next pandemic, you're already called COVID proof already. All right.
I just want to jump in here before the next two speaker. I also want to offer that those who are looking for a job and you are still not you still do not have a job right now, you can actually volunteer in your Wakil Rakyat's office. Do some pandemic work, volunteer work. Yeah? I welcome you to Bukit Bertajam.
Mr. Chu, some words of encouragement and wisdom?
Yeah, okay. I think the light is in the end of the tunnel is coming, but I think this pandemic, I hope everyone will sit back and really do some reflections. Why there's such a pandemic happens? How do we really treat our planet and the natures? If we don't solve or try to solve the root cause, this pandemic will come again and again and again and again. And our planet is actually overloaded. We need to answer why, and I take this as a great lesson, great educations to everyone for human being. If we don't understand that, we just right now, call vaccine is good, but it's solving the effect. What is the root cause? What's the cause of the problem? We are eating too many animals, and all this virus is coming from animals. And our population is growing to how many? 7 billion, 8 billion, 100 billions. Our world, our planet will no longer sustainable. Let's go for vegetarians. And all these problems were gone. But I know it's hard. It's very difficult. But in Vitrox, you come to Vitrox, you get free vegetarian food every day. Because we believe in holistic love and care. Now we're talking about care. We should care for animals as well. But this is beyond the point. I can take 1 hour to talk about that, but that's beyond the point. But this pandemic, we should learn some lessons, good lessons. And I think at this moment, we still need to be very self-disciplined, stay safe. We cannot take things for granted. We're going to affect your family. And also be disciplined and resilience. I like what Dr. Michael said. Learn something new. If you are at a crossroad, I think most importantly is ask yourself, ask your heart. Follow your heart. What is you really want to make a difference? What really meant to you? And if you are really down because your business, you can't get a job, I really love what YPCM is doing. Go and help people. During this time, when you go and help people, you open up a lot of possibilities. You get good pricing, you will get what you want, you'll be happy. So that is my piece of advice for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chu. Mr. Martin, some words of encouragement.
I think stay positive. As I always like to share this quote is during economic bad time, there's people shine bright like a diamond. During economic good times, there's still people that are doing bad. Always stay positive, upgrade yourself, because I believe if you don't upgrade yourself, how are you going to upgrade my organization? And remember to stay united with a strong willpower and committed. In short, you call UWC. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Today's session is actually quite popular. I did mention last question earlier, but I'll just hold you on for just a few more minutes. We do have another question. This question comes from our very own MC. I believe he will be joining us in 1 minute.
Hi guys, that was an incredible session and thank you so much for sharing. Behon, thanks for asking that last question. Actually, I was going to pop that in as well. Just to share a little bit about my own situation and how I can relate to the current situation. 12 years ago, I was a university student. I graduated during the 2008 GFC. Obviously, it wasn't a good time to be looking for a job. So 4 months, 10 interviews, and 300 job applications later, I finally managed to get a job. But it wasn't really the job that I wanted. But at the time, I was desperate, just like many other people fresh out of uni, at that point in time. And today, a lot of fresh graduates or people who've already graduated are also facing similar times of uncertainty because this COVID-19 pandemic is unprecedented. And, we can say we are also maybe on the mend from the recession, but still pretty much in a recession phase at the moment. And technology now is certainly evolving much faster than what it was 10, 20 years ago. So for a lot of young people, or not even just young graduates, maybe older experienced professionals who got made redundant or retrenched, there's a lot of uncertainty. They might be worried, they might be even scared of the times to come. And and I really resonated very strongly. And thank you, Stephen, YB Stephen, Dr. Michael Teo, Mr. Chu and Martin, because everything that I heard you guys say earlier, that yourself as leaders, as heads of companies and your organizations, you value EQ over IQ. You value attitude over aptitude. I've been to so many interviews where they say those things, but in the end, they give it to someone who's actually from the industry or, had a higher GPA than me. So, thank you for nurturing and creating an environment where you value people's hard work and attitude over what they've already done. So there's a lot of people, as they go through school and go through their career, they maybe kind of get stuck in the I might not be smart enough, or I might not be confident enough, or I might not have the right connections to the right people. So I had a passion when I was young, but as I grow older and go through what people call real life, am I good enough to be an entrepreneur or a business owner, or should I just settle to be an employee? What are your thoughts on that?
Sorry, Sean, could you repeat the question?
So it was suddenly a question, so that's why we were shocked. All right, so Sean, you just repeat the question again.
Okay, if people had a dream to be an entrepreneur or a business owner, but then they get scared or lose confidence throughout the way, should they pursue their dreams or just settle to be an employee?
Maybe Mr. Chu, any idea? Settle as an employee? What would you say?
Depends on the individuals. If he is willing to, go through the hardship of not getting pay or hungry stomach for weeks, works 24 hours a day for 2 weeks, going through that kind of hardship, and you think that this is what I want to do because I really meant it, then let's go and start a business. Because and also you got to understand why he want to start a business. Is it just money talk, or he really want to achieve something bigger? Is it he want to help people create something that nobody have done before? It's creating business is not just about money. It is about more than money. You can't actually chase for money because money have more legs than you. You will never be able to chase for money. Chase for your dream. Chase for something that you really enjoy doing, even you know that you're not going to get paid. Find out that passion. Without that kind of strong passion and just look for money, maybe you can earn some money, but your life is miserable. You can't sleep. You try to go shortcuts and all these things. But if you want to do something because you're going to help the poor people to live a better life, that is a very good purpose, and that would actually bring you out from your miserable life or hardship, because you know that there are people that had even challenging time, and you're willing to go extra mile to help them. Then that's a wonderful thing that I would encourage you to do it. But if you just look at money because your other friends drive a bigger car, then I want to start something, looks like easy job, easy money, then I advise don't go for that. It's very individual. If you think that you are a scientist, you want to build something, and then there are good companies that align well with your vision, why not stay with the companies? Because you have a lot of resources, a lot of good people working together, so that you can focus on your passion. So end of the day, still follow your heart. Do something that you really, really like to do, because life is short. Don't waste your time doing some things that just about material, just about money. That's my thought.
Thank you, Mr. Chu.
So that also given me some idea how to answer this question, because I'm a second generation in my company. So I have never gone through the struggle that Mr. Chu have mentioned. If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Chu is not the second generation. He actually started the company itself, right? So you are more rightful to answer that question. But being a second generation in the company, what I've done is for all, I mean, because in a Chinese company, most of the Chinese employees always think of they work for a while, then they want to become the boss of themselves, and they want to get the same type of enjoyment, freedom, financial freedom from the employer. So it's up to the employer to think what they want to provide to their employee. So for example, for me, money is not everything in life. I would say that when I grow the company, I always tell my management guys, you will enjoy the benefit of this growth together with me. So I bring them for management retreat every year. We have seen the world. We went to 6 continents together. I never spend money on myself. I always tell my children, when you grow up, you come back to the company, you take over the business. You will then take your own management for a retreat anywhere in the world, up to you. But then for now, I will take my management team that help me to grow the company, and we will enjoy the life together. So there is 2 ways of looking at it. And then at the end of the day, I would say that certain employees remain to be in the same management team. They buy into the dream that you have created for them. Because some people may want to become an entrepreneur, but they have not not able to carry that out themselves, and they are worried about the risk of losing everything when they turn into entrepreneurship, which we have seen. Some of them actually end up bankrupt and then use a lot of credit card and also maximum the credit card and whatnot. So then they go back to the industry and start working for people. So like Mr. Chu said, it's not easy. I also know it's not easy. Luckily, I was born with a silver spoon, so I'm able to move it to another level. But I've never faced, but I've listened to story about how people struggle even with the pocket open, only 1 ringgit inside, and can't even buy a pack of food or anything, So, that is really a challenging time for them. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, I would say they are like warrior in the front of a war, and you must be able to fight all the way until you are successful. Even you sleep in the office, that is nothing to them. If you don't have food, it's also nothing to them. You go around asking money from your friend for a meal, also nothing to them. Your skin must be super thick. And you must be able to withstand that kind of pressure. The pressure is tremendous, especially now. I think we trust 2,000 employees. Us also same thing, few thousand employees. Every day salary, every month salary is millions, So it's not easy, I tell you honestly. So, but then again, if you want to try it, why not? If you have the perseverance. So when is it ready? I think God will tell you somewhere or other that you are ready to move on, to become an entrepreneur. You are the chosen one. So you start moving with a lot of perseverance and make sure that the business is success.
Thank you, Dato. Mr. Martin, just some quick words.
I think I'm in the same position as Dato Michael position being the second generation of the company. But maybe apart from entrepreneur, maybe if let's say we look into intrapreneur, we are looking into what is the impact that we can create for the world, for the community, and take us UWC as an example. Rather than entrepreneur, let's look into intrapreneur. Intrapreneur is the new term where companies, when employees handle their own business unit and share the reward together with the companies. And I believe there's also a great potential. I think my employees, my team members, many of them that is holding our shares, since we are a public listed company, make a lot of money from there. And I think this is as part of the journey where both the organization and the manager itself, the intrapreneur itself, share the similar goal and similar direction. And together, I always believe that together, we grow together.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Martin. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your thoughts and sharing today. I believe we have actually overrun more than 1 hour, actually more than 1.5 hours. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I'm glad that you're able to share some time with us on this Sunday afternoon. And so before I leave, I would like to ask if it's possible, gentlemen, we'll take a quick screenshot and also photo opportunity right now. So we'll just if everyone's possible, just get ready and with a thumbs up. Okay, team. 1, 2, 3. I believe my team's working on it. One more shot. 1, 2, 3. All right. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Alright,
YB.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, YB.
Thank you,
Thank you, Dr.
Martin.
Michael.
Be safe.
Awesome, man.
Thank you.
This
Thank you,
talk.
Martin.
Alright.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, everyone.
Right.
Thanks, Bounce.
All right, Sean.
Cheers.
Back to you.
I'm waiting for my asam laksa now.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Enjoy.